So I have to use my voice. I want something you can give me. I'm not one to compromise. I'm just waiting until you see. I'm not fooled by your disguise. I won't back down. No, I won't back down. No, you're a sinner or a saint. You're a winner or you ain't. I won't back down.
Woo! Happy Thursday, beautiful people. Welcome back to LoveBabz, LoveTalk. I'm Babz Rawls-Ivy. Oh, let me clear my throat. Samara Joy brought all kinds of joy to New Haven last night. Thank you, Shelly, who I know don't listen to this show not near a bit. But thank you, Shelly, for shouting me out last night. Me and Rosalind Meyer for being the catalyst for bringing Samara joy. I had no idea this meant this much to Shelly. All I did was just whisper in her ear on a regular basis about come, send her, bring her, get her. And they broke all kinds of records with her being here. I didn't stick around last night to chat or any of that stuff. It was lightning and it was raining and I had already had a day. So all I wanted to do was just get home. It was late. I was just a little worn out. I'm still a little worn out, as you can hear from my voice, which I don't know what is happening. It's not anything that I'm not tripping the life fantastic. Or maybe to the average normal other people I might be, because I'd be out in these streets. But Samara Joy was everything. I had to park hella far because something was going on at the Schubert. And so there was parking. My usual parking place was not available to me because that would have made my life a little bit better. But it was all right to take a stroll across the green to get my car. It was all right. I was, and so when I parked my car, I was walking down the street, got to College Street. Lauren was sitting outside Anchor Spa just by her lonesome. I said, "Well, what are you doing?" I said, "Let's go inside and get something to eat, something to drink." We had time. It was like 7:15 or something. It was like early. And then Kay was like, "I'm downtown." I was like, "Well, Kay, we're in Anchor Spa," and I text Markeisha. So everybody sort of met up at Anchor Spa a little bit. Christine Josie came in with her daughter who was in town, Amani. So it was lovely to see her. And it was a good night. It was great. So I didn't have floor seats. I was sitting way up in the balcony, which was fine. I mean, she sang so beautifully. It was as if she was in front of me. And quite frankly, she was. So it was really nice. I enjoyed it. Watching her, Samara Joy, become the artist that she is becoming is a beautiful thing. I mean, I really am seeing the transformation of her, you know, way more confidence, and she's singing these songs, and she is committed to these songs. Do you know what I mean? She's a very young woman. She's like 24. She's singing these old songs as if as if they are a part of her. And I guess so, in some reality, they are. And it's just lovely to hear somebody so young be so committed to this music. you know uh Her voice it was just made for these songs. I mean, the riffs and the just floating over the melodies, the notes, I mean, really. And with a live band, I mean, it's just, it's one of the few pleasures in life. you know because when you think about why music exists and how music exists, it really shouldn't exist. Music is one of those things that should not exist, but it exists. And there's only like 7 notes in the whole wide world, and so you have to craft things from those like 7 notes. So it's not like it's 1,000 notes, new notes. It's the same notes. And you just have to compose them. And so when you think about all the songs that have ever been made and are being made, that is crazy. Music should not exist in the world, but it does. And for no other reason than pleasure, right? Like we understand music to be pleasure. It doesn't do anything other than create pleasure. It doesn't cure anything. Now, you can make the case that, if you're a musician, you know, and you play music and people feel better, okay. But music in and of itself has no real reason to exist in the world, you know. So it's fascinating to me when you get a talent like a Samara Joy who just is otherworldly with the way that she sings and delivers a song. It is incredible, you know. So I'm grateful to all the people who showed up last night. And now they know what I know, how much I love her. And and the other part of it too, it's nice to find a new artist that you can ride with throughout their career. It's like when people discovered Prince. Prince been around since the 70s. And if you were a fan then, you were a fan to the end. You didn't just become a fan in the 90s or 2000s. I mean, if you did, you did. But okay. So, did somebody just come in? Margot? That was you? Oh. I told y'all I'm at the house. When you're in the house, you. Oh, really? Okay. You probably was hungry looking for something. Okay. Squirrel attacks. Be on the lookout for squirrel attacks. So anyway, last night was amazing and it was magical, and I'm glad I got to hear her. I will see her again because she will be performing on Martha's Vineyard this year, and I'll be on Martha's Vineyard. And I will be on Martha's Vineyard, and it'll be good, So I'm excited. And it'll be a much more intimate space. It was like 1,500 people last night. So, you know, uh, so it was a lot of people. It was nice though. I will say it was very nice. Uh, it was very, very nice. So, so what are y'all doing? It's Thursday and the inner city has been put to bed. I'm about to check it to see what's new and exciting. I've got a new refrigerator, as y'all noticed yesterday when I was chatting, and it was delivered yesterday. So now I have to go and get some groceries because now I have a working refrigerator and with a working freezer. So now I could get all my frozen fruits again so that I could have smoothies, protein shakes. Do you know what I mean? So I'm excited by that. Uh, which is really nice. So yeah, so I'm gonna go and see what is on the cover of the inner city. My neighborhood is on the cover. New Hallville gets back into building. So I like that. So I just gotta check it out because it hit the streets. Um, Juneteenth sermon, Hill plans for a future Union Square, gun violence survivor, Hartford to offer healing. Advisory board releases racial profiling data. Okay, whatever. Investors win row home auction. United Church on the Green is advertising, which is nice. Bike share is coming back. They're gonna bring e-bikes. That should be fun. And you know, cleanup crew hits Newhallville. So it's a lot of little Newhallville stuff going on. Uh, good stuff. Okay. I didn't think I put that in there. I got a piece on Ozempic, Black people. Um, let's see. Oh yeah, it looks good. It looks good. Something on the LTQ. I got a piece on the LGBTQIA plus community. Um, okay. There's some good stuff going on. Got a little piece on Deion Sanders, some sports stuff. A little challenging, but it's in there. So, yeah. All right. It's not that bad. Huh. I thought I thought I put the Caribbean Festival stuff in. Hmm. I don't see it. It was in there last week. I don't see it for I don't see it for this week. It was in there. Well, sometimes things get bumped for a lot of reasons. So, Harry, September 2nd, Labor Day. Are we walking? What are we doing? Should I register us to take a walk? Because we said we were going to do it. It's time. Let me know, Harry. I will definitely register us and pay because we said we were going to do it. Don't make me do it by myself. I might as well. I gotta get some sneakers so I could get to training. I'm still not as steady as I want to be walking. That's a little troublesome to me. And I only know it's because I have to consistently walk, you know. So I have not been doing that. So that's what I have to do. I have to I have to get to walking. But I'm just waiting to get some new sneakers. That's all I'm doing, waiting to get some new sneakers so that I could walk. Because the sneakers I have are not walkable. They hurt my feet. And no one should be wearing sneakers that hurt. Should not be doing it. So that's where I'm at, you know. That is where I'm at. I had a egg sandwich, an egg and bacon sandwich this morning. My daughter got it from the corner store in the neighborhood. Ain't nothing like a good ass egg and bacon sandwich from a corner store. You know what I'm saying? Reminds me when I was a kid going to high school, and it was like $5. It was $5 at the corner store still. Like they ain't raised their prices not one bit. They might have, because it might have been like $3 when I was a kid. They might have put two more dollars with it. I'm not gonna make it a habit of doing that, but it was nice this morning because I was hungry this morning. Do you know what I mean? Like I was hungry. So I was like, all right, and a Fiji, which is probably, it's natural artesian water, but whatever. I could have drank some water at the house. I don't know. I forget. I opened my fridge last night and I was getting ready to get annoyed. I was like, who took the damn measuring the cup out of they know the refrigerator is leaking. Why they take the cup out? I was like, oh, this is the new fridge. We don't have to do that anymore. Like I don't have to do that anymore. I seriously was annoyed. I seriously was pissed off. I opened the fridge and I was like, who the hell took the damn, now this water's gonna pour all over the place. And then I realized it's a new fridge. Oh my God. I just cracked myself up last night. And I just went on to bed. I was like, Babs, you ain't got no sense. Not near a bit of sense. Nary a sense. Nary. So anyway, those are my troubles. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows but Jesus. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows but Jesus. I don't really know any trouble. I don't have any real trouble. I did wear a caftan last night. I was like, I'm wearing a caftan. I've got like 4 or 5 caftans. I'm just gonna rotate them all summer. I mean, what? Who gonna check me, boo? I'm just gonna read them all. I'm just gonna wear them all summer. So I might be able to get some reading in this afternoon. So I'm one of these people, I did all this laundry over the last couple of days. I still have more laundry to do because I'm trying to put away all this winter foolishness and sort through things and work out clothes. And, it's just, so I have all these clean clothes on my bed and I didn't fold them up. So guess what I did? I pushed them over to the other side because I have a king size bed. So, sleeping in a king size bed is like sleeping in a whole country by yourself. I am not ashamed to tell you, I pushed those clothes right over to the other side of the bed and I went on to sleep. So I will get them folded today, but they wasn't getting folded last night. I just didn't have it in me. And I left them so that I would. I was like, oh, when I get home, I'll just fold them up and put them away. I got home, I was like, I looked at those clothes. I looked at how much space is on this bed. I was like, oh, I can just push them way over there. And it'll be like I don't even see these damn things. So that's what I did. This is my confession. That's what I did. So that's where we're going with this. So I'll figure it out. I'll fold them up. Then I need to go to the grocery store and get some groceries. Eggs, kind of stuff, that kind of stuff. All right, who is putting stuff on my calendar? Oh, okay. Arts Council board meeting. Okay. September. You know what? I need a little break from board work. That's what summers are for. I don't hate board work. I love it, but I just need a little break. You know, uh, I just need a little break. That's all. So I'm gonna do that and um, chill, just chill a little bit. And oh, last night was the Negroes for Lease um, slave auction last night. I know I probably shouldn't talk about it like that, but that's what I'm doing. I can't unsee it. Every time I think about the draft, the NFL draft, Negroes for Lease, I can't I can't unsee it. And I don't think I want to be begrudging these brothers money and contracts and opportunity to play the game that they're gifted at. And I don't think I want to do that. But I do want to always be aware that that whole system is set up on a plantation slave auction system that is set up that way. And I can't unsee it. I just can't unsee it. I wish I could unsee it. I can't unsee it. I can't. It's just modern day slave auctioning. I don't know if I should be mad about that but something about it is quite troubling to me. All these drafts are troubling to me. Ugh. And I can't unsee it. I have to figure out a way. And I don't dislike sports. I am an athlete. I think once you're an athlete, you're always an athlete. I mean, I grew up playing basketball and softball, volleyball, tennis. I played a lot of tennis when I was a kid. So I played sports. I played on teams. My whole life, right? My whole younger life. So so it's not like I'm against sports. I'm absolutely not. I think sports are a good way for kids to learn teammanship and fairness and honor. Well, it used to be anyway. I don't know what the hell it is now. So I can't unsee the draft as anything other than a modern day high tech auction block. You go to the highest bidder. And I don't know how I don't know if we should be morally outraged by that, or I just know I can't unsee it. And I find that troubling. That's all. That's really the point that I want to make, that I can't unsee it. So anyway, that happened last night. I don't know what I did not check who was where and what and who made out, who what kid is rich this morning. I don't know. I don't know who went where. I don't know. I didn't When I turned the TV on last night, it was still going on. So I just turned the channel to something else, you know. Uh, so so I don't know. I just don't know. So, but anyway, I'm over at the New Haven Independent site now. Uh, the second drug rehab exec dies. Employees, patients left scrambling for answers. So how did they die? Did they die by suicide because they were doing something wrong? Like I'm just trying to, I guess if I read the article, because it just seems, when you read this article, you automatically think, second one dies. Why are people dying? Uh, CEO Peter Shore and CAO Scott Korogodsky both found dead in less than a week. Uh, I don't know what this is. So apparently, based on a New Haven Independent article written by Tom Breen, there's some chaos and uncertainty around one of New Haven's largest drug rehab clinics. And 160 workers are left out, don't know what's happening. They don't have paychecks. Um, they got to find places for these other patients to go, for patients, not other patients, for patients to go. So retreat behavioral health facilities is in 3 states: Connecticut, Florida, and I don't know, and Pennsylvania. So Florida, Pennsylvania, Connecticut. So Connecticut closed indefinitely. It has and then it has, in Florida they have a 17 million foreclosure lawsuit, and I don't know what's going on in Pennsylvania. But they have the center on 915 El Grasso Boulevard, on the boulevard over there, 80 beds. And then it has an outpatient clinic on Long Wharf. So according to the New Haven Independent, with Tom Breen reporting, uh, the inpatient center closed abruptly last Friday, and the outpatient clinic on Long Wharf on Monday. So, and then sudden deaths of the Retreat Center CEO Robert Short. So, are they saying how he died? So, Short's funeral took place on Tuesday in Valhalla, New York, and the medical examiner in Palm Beach County, Florida, where Short died, said exemption stated in state public records law prevents her from disclosing the cause of death. So I wonder if he committed suicide, because it just seems, it just seems so suspicious. Because they would have just said he fell down dead of a heart attack or something, or he was battling prostate cancer or something. So he might have just committed suicide. I don't know. I don't want to cause any harm to the family, but it's just so, I'm no detective, just playing one on the radio. But usually when there's some impropriety around finances, people get desperate and do desperate things. Ask me how I know. I do know. Um, so as so so they're not gonna say this. So they're not they've got a legislative exemption law happening in wherever this is, Florida, barring the release of autopsies in the cases of suicide. So all right, so I'm on the right track. Because it just seems, I was like, why all this mystery? Like, okay. So he probably had his back up against the wall and felt like, let me save my family and the company and all this some grief. And let me just whatever. And then the other guy, uh Scott Korogotsky, uh, he's identified as a chief administrative officer. Uh, and he works in Pennsylvania. Uh, he died by suicide. Okay, so I was right. I didn't even read this thing. I read it. I wouldn't have had to do all that detecting work. But yeah, so he died. So yeah, so I bet you misappropriation of funds or embezzlement is probably the culprit. Because people just don't kill themselves because their company is just like, you'll sell your company or you'll get out of the company. So they must have been misappropriating some funds, and it got too, and they don't want to go through all the business of indictment and going to prison and having to pay back, and the shame, probably shame to the family, you know. So because once you commit suicide, then they're not gonna tag anything on you. Uh, so that's too bad. So oh, this is a lot. So I don't know what happens. I mean, 80 beds we probably could handle it some kind of way in this state. But those other states, I don't know what they're gonna do in Florida. I have no faith in Florida with the governor that they have. I don't have no faith in them being able to do a damn thing. And I don't know much about Pennsylvania to really get a feel for it either. But I do know these people weren't getting paychecks and stuff, and that's a little disconcerting. Because you go to work like we all go to work, and you want to be paid, and then you get that we don't have your check, or if you put your check in and it is returned, and I know what that's like too. It's a hardship because you depend on your pay. So yeah, so I would imagine people would feel blindsided. And probably no one saw this coming. I mean, there's always somebody who saw something, right? There's always somebody who like, there's a little red flag here. Hello, hello, hello. But it's usually a little peon person that's sort of like, there's a red flag here. Who should I tell? Uh the more this unfolds, the more this will come out. And yeah, people are living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's just what it is. And I don't got no shame for that. People are trying to do the best that they can. And this probably seemed like a decent job to hold, you know. So so they didn't get paid last Friday and they had a sense something was about to go down. Uh, they got an email letting employees know that the company's CEO had passed away. And yeah, so that would make me a little concerned to be like, what the hell is happening? And then you find out somebody else, the CAO passes away. Well, they committed suicide, death by suicide. So yeah, so now you got to be thinking, what the hell? So now they got to figure this out. And it's going to take a minute to sort through this stuff. Somebody's got to go in, they got to hire somebody to do a forensic audit. You know, this company is over 3 states. So it's gonna take a minute for it to unravel and to be sorted through. So I don't know when these people will see some money. They just better go get other jobs. And I know that can't be easy neither, right? So uh and but in the meantime, somebody's got to move these patients, you know, and somebody they got to be paid. I rarely read the comments on New Haven Independent because, some of them are they just don't make sense. So, which is fine. They don't have to make sense to me. People get to say what they want, you know. Uh, but there are people who like fight back. So City Yankee is offended by some language, I guess. People are upset. So, when you talk to people, this is how they talk. And if you're so caught up in what they're saying, then as opposed to what they're saying, then you're stupid. City Yankee is stupid anyway. I have no regard for that. Whoever that is, whoever City Yankee is, they always out here. They don't got nothing else to do. No, they don't have nothing else to do because they always over here waxing poetic. It's all right, I guess. I mean, this is your life. Go have at it. But I appreciate Elm City Angels. Like, you know what? This is New Haven. People are upset. They're gonna say what's on their mind. So, and Fast Driver 109, sometimes vulgar foul words fit the situation at hand. You ain't never lied. A word, sometimes a good SHIT or FUCK is what's needed. Sometimes those words are just the right words to fit a situation. I ain't mad at it. I am not. And when you messing around with people's paycheck, can't nobody be standing on decorum. When you got bills to pay, mouths to feed, you can't be standing on niceties. You gotta be like, where the F is my money? Seriously. That's just what honey, this is what it is. So I ain't mad at people. I'm a little shocked when people don't cuss people out, you know. And I'm not a fan. Me personally, I'm not a journalist. I'm just playing one on the radio. I'm not a fan of exploitive stuff. I don't want microphones in front. I never want to put a microphone in somebody who's grieving or just had a loss because they're shell shocked. And I just don't like it. I know why we people do it because it's exciting. And they think, oh, look, we're getting up to the minute, whatever. I wouldn't want to talk to nobody who just lost a loved one or had an accident or whatever. I just don't think that's good. I know we do it all the time. People do it all the time. It's done. It's done. It's standard operating procedure. I'm just saying, from my perspective, I don't like it because it just feels exploitive to me. And I really am at 61 seriously looking at the ways in which we exploit each other in the way that we tell stories, in the way that we ask questions, in the way that we talk about things. I really am thinking about that. It's not like I never thought about it before, but I have a different mindset about it because I lived 61 years. I know a thing about a thing. And I've said this at Story Week, and I've been going to Story Week for a few years now. Um, there's a way to tell a story without being exploited. And I think we've gotten into this world of, telling stories to manipulate and exploit for all kinds of reasons, to fundraise, to draw attention, to do all these things. And to me, it's just more white supremacy. It's just more a deeper dive into white supremacy. I can't stand it. I just cannot stand it. When I started the Freed Woman Fund, people were like, well, are we ever going to get to see the women who are going to get help? Hell no, you're not going to see them. What? It's not felons on parade. What's wrong with you? You really want to see a woman stand in front of you? Okay, I'll tell you what, I'll do it. I'll stand in front of you as a felon and I'll say, listen, it was very difficult for me. I've lost this, I've lost that. I had to rebuild this, I had to rebuild that. That's what you're gonna get. But for me to drag another woman in front of a situation to tell her pain, Now I'm all for storytelling. I believe storytelling is one of the most healing things you can do. But I'm not going to exploit. I am never going to exploit people for fundraising or gain. I'm never going to do it. So for all the people who are like, can we see? No, you can't see. You know what? Look at me. That's what you're gonna do. You look at me. Look at me. Follow this big bouncing head as I shake my head side to side. That's it. I'm not. So I feel some kind of way. Now it's one thing if there's an accident and you got witnesses, you want to talk to the witnesses. That's one thing. But oftentimes I see these camera people or these news people run up on people after they've already lost their spouse or the kids or whatever, and they're banging on their door. Oh, can you tell us? And blah, blah, blah. Tell you what, that this hurts, that I'm broken, that I'm on the ground. That's exploitive entertainment. I can't stand it. So I'm always thinking about how we tell these stories. So if somebody says some bad words, all right. Do you know how much bad words I use on a regular basis? And there are people who don't even know I use bad words until they hear me say bad words and they go, oh my God. My kids were little, big before they heard me cuss at them. I didn't cuss at them when they were little. I did cuss at them when they got like middle school, because then I felt like they could handle it. When they were little though, I didn't cuss at them. But when they got to like 7th, 8th grade, get your ass in the house. You don't shut your little asses up. And they get that look on their face like, you said a bad word. Mommy said bad word. Yes, I did. And more are about to come if you don't get somewhere and sit down or go do what you're supposed to do. You know. So yeah, I'm not a fan of exploitation. And I feel it more as I age. The older I get, the more I just cannot stand it. Putting people on display. And I don't like it. I don't like it for anything. I don't like it when you're like, oh, feed the hungry. What? Whatever. I just don't like it. And I know storytelling is a good way to raise awareness and to garner support. I get it. But there's a nuanced way to do it so that it is not exploiting people. And we've gone way past the pale on exploitation and using narratives to do more harm than good. And for me, and when I say things are rooted in white supremacy, that is colonialism. That is all the isms. That is white privilege on speed. on crack. Well, white people didn't do crack. It's privilege on methadone or oxycodone or whatever the hell it is, you know, to exploit people. I don't like it. And I think we have to be better. And I just feel like, you know, and I heard this a while ago and I didn't understand it. And I remember heard somebody say nonprofits are just incubators of more white supremacy. And the older I get and the more that I am in them, the more that I see it, you know, the more that I see it, the more that I see it. And I'm somebody who serves on a lot of boards. And I know some of these boards are trying to do the work of anti-racism and all this other kind of stuff. And I think a lot of it is just superficial. I think a lot of it is window dressing. I think a lot of it is, well, we want to be seen as progressive and, you know, we're going to be progressive and uh, we want to be seen as moving what's right. And we want to be sensitive to other people. I just don't believe it. I have no faith in any of that stuff, you know. I cringe every time I hear it or see it. Now, I'm not suggesting we do away with it. Nope. I'm just saying, stop asking Black people to be a part of it. I think white people should solely work on that stuff because, you know, they're the reason why it exists. I don't care who hears this. I don't care who gets offended. If you get offended, a hit dog will always scream. White people created this system. We just players in it. We just trying to survive it. Everybody who's not white is trying to survive it. Asians, Latinos, Latinas, Hispanic X, whatever it is people are calling themselves. Indigenous people, you know, the global majority is just trying to survive. The global majority is just trying to survive. Everything else is just white people driven, privilege. And even poor white people think they got privilege. I'm like, and I think Martin Luther King had it right. He was like, you know what's the problem? Poor Black people and poor white people ought to get together. But but even at Reconstruction, we understood that. Like, hey, white people, you are more aligned with us than you are with your land owning barons. But the land owning barons convinced these white folks, oh no, you're white. And you're more like you're us. You're not like those niggers. You're not them. So don't align yourself with them. You're better because you're white. And that's how it all fell apart. They sold that bill of goods to poor white people, and poor white people think, oh, I'm not there. I'm not one of them. I'm over here with these people. And so when you listen to Donald Trump, he understands this dynamic, or the people who whispering to him. I mean, I don't even think they whispering at this point, talking loud and saying nothing to him. You know, all you got to do is get these poor white folks to think that you are for them, and they will not hitch their wagons to the global majority. They will not do it because somehow or other they've been convinced that it's the global majority that's the problem. And I'm thinking, yo, you know what's the problem? Your education system sucks. You in food apartheid spaces. You can't get good medical care. Your state won't expand Medicaid. You think that this should be on the backs of Black people? But ignorance makes people do ridiculous and crazy things. It makes you do ridiculous and crazy things, like vote against your own best interest. You know, they want white women to be pregnant. They don't give a damn about Black women having abortions. We're just a casualty of that fight. They don't care about us. They would prefer us not to have babies. But they don't care whether we making the choices or not. They don't care about that. What they do care about is white women making these decisions about delaying child raising children, having children, you know, uh, this narrative that, men are the head and women aren't, I mean, and you see it, and it's pervasive. It's in churches, it's in business, you know. Oh, now they want to, now I'm starting to sort of see these states that say you have no fault divorce. Now they want to make it hard for you to untangle yourself. Why? What do you get out of that? That's just to hem women up. And it's meant to hem up white women. White women, y'all gotta come listen. Poor white women who got this ridiculous religious slant to them, listening to these white men. Your futures are not there. Your futures are aligned with other women to get you to the higher ground. Stop thinking that some white man is going to have your best interest. They don't have your best interest. They're tying up your reproductive agency. They're tying up your access to capital. They're tying up your access to home ownership. They're tying up your access to get free out of bad marriages. And you still think that somehow or other they could. And listen, don't get me wrong. There are some willing, stupid Black people along on that train. Willing to drink that piss, drinking it in gallons. This is the best piss I ever had. Ooh, that Republican piss is tangy and good. So I'm just saying. So I'm just thinking about all the spaces and places that I get to move in, and I'm happy to move in them. And I try to be responsible when I move in these spaces. About how I bring my full self to it and my intellect. And when I bring my intellect, I'm not thinking about just Black people, although I lead Black. I'm thinking about everybody. That's the difference. I'm thinking about everybody. I am concerned that white women are losing their agency because we are casualties of that too. We are casualties. I was having a conversation. I was at the salon yesterday, and the conversation came up about, a doctor was telling my girlfriend, don't do the Ozempic. And I was like, why would a doctor say that? Because there are still some doctors who think that if you just work hard and eat vegetables, that somehow or other you will lose the weight. But Ozempic, all these semaglutides and all these things do so much more. And the people who don't get them are us, Black people. Just like we don't get access to cholesterol lowering drugs. We don't get access to those because doctors like, oh, just go home and cut out fried chicken. Swear to God. I was like, man, give me the pills. See what I mean? It's that kind of foolishness that they get away with in our communities. And our communities are comprised of poor Black people and poor white people and poor Latino people and poor Asian people. We get denied so much because of poverty, because they don't think that we deserve healthcare that's on par with everybody else. So they're not going to prescribe things for us, which they should. They should be talking to us about these things. Like, this might be a wonderful way for you to do what you haven't been able to do for 20 years or 30 years or 40 years. And everybody can't be an advocate for themselves. There's so many people who can't speak up in these places because they're intimidated. I get to speak up because I've benefited from really good education. That's the only reason I've benefited from really good education and being in spaces that allowed me to use that education to move forward. But there's a lot of people who don't have that, who are talked to in such a way that they don't dare speak up in these conversations because they feel ashamed and they've been made to feel small. They do all, I see it in the hospitals all the damn time, the way they talk to people. And I've had people try to talk to me too. I say, hold up, hold up, hold up. Let me unpack my master's, my bachelor's, my spiritual direction certification. Let me unpack all my stuff so that I could push back on how they talking to me and how they think I don't understand. Because you little PA girl sitting here talking to me, little white woman or white person or whoever you are, and some black ones too, little PAs and little nurses and all this other kind of stuff. I have as much education as you. I've been all around the world. You've just been right here. So don't talk to me like that. And I'm able to follow along a plan and understand what outcomes are and all that kind of stuff. And if I don't know, guess what else I have? Access to people who do know. So I can pick up the phone and call my doctor friends and say, this here right here, what does this mean? But I don't rarely have to do that because you know what I could do? I could go look up stuff. And then I could call them and say, well, this is what I found, blah, 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 blah. But everybody can't do that. Right. And that's the inequity of it. That's where inequity is really, really big, because people don't know how to go look for the information and they talk to you. They do it in health. And education is the worst. You sit up there and they give you these little IEP plans for your kids and they start talking all this mess and letters and they don't tell you what the letters are. And you don't dare jump in and say, can you just tell me what that means? And then they get all their eyes roll and they take deep breaths like you're interrupting them and you're interrupting the flow. It's that, I'm telling you, I've seen it so many times. All right, I'm going to take a break. I'll be back. I'll be back at 10:15. Hey, play something good.
There goes my heart again. All of this time I thought we were pretending. Nothing looks the same when your eyes are open. Now you're playing these games to keep my heartbeat spinning. Yeah.